be recorded.
Apologies. All right, Kitty, can you hear me now? Okay, so we are 7:05. It's called to order quorum present. Again, sorry. All right, so no big items of community interest this month. We can discuss, act, and approve the minutes from last month, I'm so sorry.
The city council did recognize David for his years of service.
You know, I actually saw that just today. So I guess that is technically, I can add lib, right? Items of community interest. Our own David Rogers has been with the city for 35 years. So that's a nice
Congratulations. And thank you so much.
No, it's fine. Thank you. I'd forgotten about that.
the upcoming Labor Day holiday in
it's
September, the
September
city
5.
hall offices will all be closed. What date is it? September 1?
5, I think.
Thank you.
I got one if you need. I don't know if anybody, this Saturday, 8 to noon, brush day. If you got any tree branches, anything to haul off, behind the fire station, 8 to noon. No, that's only one time a year. That's the one in, usually in May or June when it works out too.
But we can bring our branches down.
All your branches and stuff down there, they'll take all of
How
them.
many times can I bring my trailer?
There is no limit as long as you can get there between 8 and 12.
It might take me 4 hours. I haven't been able to burn anything, so, you know. No
There are
fire.
people that come multiple times. We've had some of these, usually the ones more in the wintertime when it's cold, nobody really wants to get out. We've had times where there's been one customer, but that one customer made 5 and 6 rounds.
To load up my tree. Okay, so sorry, we'll go back. David, 35 years. Brush Day is this Saturday, 8 to 5. City offices are closed on September 5th in observance of Labor Day. Okay, there were items of community interest. Now on to the minutes from last month.
This is Cindy. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes.
So second,
Barbara Long, I second.
all in favor? None opposed? All right, the financial statement as printed for July, it's going to be June or July? July of 2022. Anything change? Oh, please, me. That you know of, Katrina? I think that's it. That's it. I think this is it.
No, the one you have is the budget. This is July.
Oh,
The
oh, oh.
current. The one you have is amended.
Got it.
I think I just had one question. This doesn't include the train and the face paint, right? Right. Christmas in the
Correct.
Park, because it was just done at the last meeting? Okay. This is Cindy. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the financial statement for July.
Do I have a second?
This is Barbara Long, I'll second.
All in favor? None opposed? Motion passes. All right, so action item 5A is going to be discussed, consider, and act recommendations to the city council to approve the proposed park board budget.
Okay, so the fund for 4 that you're looking at has all of the revisions that you recommended last meeting and made a motion on. You have the option, though, to make a new motion if you want, and if everybody's satisfied, you don't have to, because it's as it is printed, it is, going forward. Does that make sense? But the other 2 funds, we will need a motion on them,
What other?
15 and 55.
So when we motion,
Really
Because
quickly.
only Fund 4 was, last
we
meeting.
only motion for Fund 4. Is what you're
No, I'm saying you made a motion for Fund 4 last time, but we didn't discuss 15 and 55.
So as long as we agree with the previous motion for Fund 4, we're okay.
Correct.
But you're saying you've updated the packet to show our requested changes in this.
Yes, on Fund 4.
On
But
Fund
I
4.
passed out a new Fund 15
Got
that
it.
David will kind of go over with you.
I just have one really quick question or statement. Is it possible to let the council know that the reason that we want the Wild West Fest fund is because the tennis courts may go over cost? I mean, I don't want to just randomly say we want the money and then not
Well,
have
I
a
thought we
purpose
put the
for it.
money in for,
Pardon me?
We didn't make that. I don't understand the question.
Well, we requested that the funds from Wild West Fest be put into our general fund, correct?
We did not.
Okay.
What we did was we got rid of Wild West Fest
Right.
and reallocated the funds because Eric had mentioned that the 4th of July was much larger celebration this year than it's been,
Right.
and we talked about shifting the funds. You want to make a note to council that that's why we're changing the funds.
so y'all
from-
added 20,000 to 4th of July. That
Correct.
was your
To
Wild
bring in
West.
the band then at that point.
Okay.
But you're talking about the funds that were left over. Not
Just the funds that we switched.
So we just reallocated.
Okay.
Oh, sure, yeah, no, we so I have a question though, Katrina, because what I have here isn't matching what we asked for.
Okay,
So is it possible it didn't get updated and we have an old
Okay.
one?
Let's go over it then. What are you looking at? Of the budget. Correct. Well, I have about 1 copy. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'll just read this out. So the changes that are noted are increase the expenses to Christmas in the Park from 20,000 to 25,000, increase Easter from 35 to 4,000, movie in the park from 1,000 to 1,200, city signs and decorations from 15 to 20, transfer 20,000 from Wild West, and increase Independence from 25 to 45.
Okay, so my question is, if you notice on page 13, it says the Easter egg hunt is 3,500, then tell me why on page, I'm trying to catch up. Why on page 16 it's 4,000? Why are there 2 line items?
Well, the first one is your revenue, and the second one's your expense.
So egg hunt account 045730 is the revenue account. And then 47830001 the expense.
045730 0000. That is revenue.
Got it.
Expense is, I have to flip from one to the other.
Okay. And then the
Expense is
expense is the
783001.
Got it.
Okay.
That's where I was.
Yes, I wish it was louder.
This is still
Can you flip back to the summary?
And then is there, let me just, now will it be helpful for one of us to attend the recommendation reading council meeting, or is that, David, do you go and do that for us? Just to let them know why we wanted to move. I don't. See, I don't know if you had the time to listen to our previous meeting, but it was brought up. I think you were out last month. Is that right? Oh, Marcy updated you. Okay. So we, just to reiterate, collectively felt like the Wild West funds, because of the weather and all of that, how good of a turnout we felt we had this year at the 4th of July, moving it over and doing all that stuff. We felt like the funds would be better utilized there in a bigger community event that wouldn't be canceled. So hopefully. I guess it has been canceled before, but typically it's not canceled. Okay, I mean, I think that looks good. It looks like it matches what I wrote from last meeting on my, anyone see anything that didn't look the same? Okay, I'm just making sure. You tend to have that detail-oriented, focus. So
Since we already voted on this one,
we don't
if
have
we're
to-
not, we don't need a motion or anything, we're
we
just,
don't,
we're just gonna
unless
move.
somebody has changed their mind or has a different
Yeah.
recommendation.
I think this one's fine from my
All
view.
right, so then the next one we needed to look at, because I think 4 looks okay. You said 15? So 15, so that's David?
Yeah. That's the your revenue is that y'all can decide yay or nay on. Y'all want to spend the money on that? You got a different project you want to spend it on? These are just covers the updating the fall zones in Gamble Park to where they're all surfaced with that rubber so that it becomes a fully, Gamble Park then will be fully ADA compliant. Everything in there will be ADA if we do that. Be fully ADA compliant surface. All those other, we have the playground is already surfaced, but the swing areas are not. All those areas are not. This would cover getting them done. I believe, actually, truthfully, if you want to know the truth, if the pricing comes back the way we thought, probably would be enough. You could probably do it more than there, but we won't know until it goes out to bid. But just looking at some of the recent jobs that have went out, have came in a little cheaper than everybody thought. So,
Not to be insensitive, but is there more that needs to be done to make that ADA compliant, or does that meet the requirements
that gets
and
us,
accessibility?
that gets all the playground stuff now accessible. Everything would then be truly accessible. You can have ramps, you can have everything, but if you got wood chips or gravel or whatever, it's technically really not totally ADA compliant. That solid surface like that with that rubber would make it totally ADA compliant.
And I'm sorry, that's just for the Gamble Park, or is that also?
That's what this estimate is for. Like I said, price has been different, so could be if you did want to do this project, we did it out to bid, comes back that, there's money left over, you may be looking at moving that money to another project or doing some more stuff somewhere else.
Okay, I have a question. It has the total expenditures 830 and then the ending resource of 114,000. So does that mean that that would be available if we have some small projects? And I'll just give a couple examples. Once the tennis courts are built, we may need to put windbreaks up, get benches, those other little accessories.
Mm-hmm.
And so could that be used to finish out that project?
All of these can be. That's why
Okay.
the tennis court currently has most of that stuff in it.
Oh, it
but,
does? Okay.
When it goes out to bid, you never know what's going
Right.
to happen. But that also can be used if the project went over, which the last one I saw, I think would actually be under. Unless something changes right now. Prices on concrete, some other things are changing, and it changes daily nearly. There's a chance it could come under. So that's one of those, we want to get these things finished off pretty quick so we can get this out on the street.
Is there a reason that park fund development fee is probably conservative or hopefully conservative? I mean, especially when you're looking at 260 and 217 the previous 2 years.
Yeah, no, that they always are extremely conservative on there because, yeah, we know that, but then with the way the economy has been, I mean, we have seen a drastic slowdown in permits. Permits were going, I mean, they couldn't keep up part. Where suddenly now it's like they were going 30, 40, 50 inspections on new houses every single solitary day to about half that to some days now 4 or 5.
Oh, I see the homes for sale
Yeah.
staying for sale. Which is
Yeah, so they always look at everything. Our accountant, finance director has always been very conservative. Of course, our mayor is very ultra conservative. So that's generally how most of our budget stuff is done.
Historically, we haven't had much in that fund. So when I
No,
started,
this is
we kind of were like, oh, we got 50,000. What can we do? And we
yeah,
couldn't really do
no,
anything.
this is
So
one of those. This is the fun time when you've actually really got
Yes.
some money coming in for a while.
we were so excited. I mean, I know you weren't here at that time, but when we voted on that park, I mean, it was like the heavens had opened up. We were like, oh.
Sarah,
Right. You're like, why?
And
why
that's
do we
why,
have so much?
that's why talking with finance director, she put all the different projects like the electric upgrade service so that you could do Christmas in the park, the added circuits all around there. Put them in here, but again, you do not have to spend that money now. This is one of those good funds that if you don't spend it, it doesn't go away. It just keeps building on top. So, I mean, you can save it for a rainy day, save it for a big project. You got to think about, something else community park, the playground over there is 14 years old. And when they hit around 15 or so, you got to really start thinking about, is it time to replace, come in with a whole new playground. And again, then it's the same thing. Do you want to go with, solid surface there to make it more ADA compliant, different things. So that's something that's coming up. Luckily, playgrounds aren't terribly expensive, but they're not cheap. So that's what y'all get to think and have fun about. Do you save your money for another project? Do you want to put it in these projects or not? You just put them in there to show you got enough money you could do all these other little projects except for the more expensive trail crossing up at the other end and the big lighting on the cat trail. But those are two projects that aren't something you have to have, especially the lighting up there. Aston Parkway's completed and finished. Really no reason to worry about lighting that yet. Wait till that happens. One, that's bringing Tri-County Electric power to this part of town. And Tri-County Electric is a little easier to work with about doing lighting projects, long stuff like that. So there's always a chance we might get something worked out better with them. But yeah, that's the only reason those are in there. The only one you can't touch is that tennis court. It's got to stay. All the rest of them, you can take them out, you can move it around,
and
name something new.
And can one of the other boards help with that lighting project since we don't have enough money for that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
There's all that's EDCs, everybody. There's all kinds of other
Well,
ways.
I
to
do
help with
believe
that.
it's important to proceed with that so that the trails are safe.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
there's always possibilities for grants for some of that stuff.
Yeah.
There is a lot of grant type programs that come along through Parks and Wildlife, through community development to grant money. There's a number of things that can happen.
on the volleyball courts, you're talking about doing a solid surface on that
Solid
as well.
surface in that one over.
That would solve our sand problem, correct?
Mhm.
So I'm sorry, for purposes of making recommendations to council on Fund 15, I guess I was under the understanding that we don't really make a recommendation because there's not really budgetary at this point. Is that right? Or do we need
Right,
to make
but
a
you can,
recommendation?
these here are the ones that y'all kind of get some say-so, because these are y'all's projects. They get to make final decision if they want to move forward with something, but they generally try to want to put it into a project y'all want, that y'all, can't, so.
So at this point, we would just make a recommendation to council to leave the money where it is?
If you decided you didn't want to do, say, the electric service, you want to wait on those, you can say, we don't want to do those this coming year, we want to save the money and see what next year brings.
I'm
All right.
sorry, I guess my question is, I don't see where that's pertinent to this recommendation. This is just sort of a general fund. We don't, with our other Fund 4, we say we want 25,000 at Christmas,
Oh, yeah.
40,000 at whatever. This is just, we're not specifying anything. Is that correct?
These you are, if you went with this one currently the way it is, those projects would move forward. They would go to,
I guess I'm not seeing
Design.
the project.
under the expenditures, those are all projects. Your tennis court is there as a project. Yeah, that's why you gotta have the new one. And the one on the screen.
Right, but all that says is park fund fee transfer.
Can we make a recommendation that we would like to look into these projects?
Why are we making?
Mhm. Yeah,
I mean-
'cause these all,
I'm looking at it,
until
it's not-
you're
it's
more
just saying
ready,
proposed
they don't have to
budget. Why
move
are we even
forward
asking
right
for a
away.
budget?
You say you want to leave the money there and rethink about them and see how the year goes, see how the economy goes. There's a lot of our funds that's what it's going to happen with them.
Well, I
So
don't
they're
see
there,
I
any,
guess, I'm sorry, I'm just
Wait.
gonna stop for a second because I think I'm the one that's lacking here. Basically, this has been presented for us. We've been talking about these things for months. And now basically what we're being told is we're gonna put in these electrical circuits, this electrical service, and we're approving these volleyball courts. But I don't recall us having a lot of discussion about that as a board.
These
And
are
to the
all the
extent-
projects that y'all put on the list to have
Correct.
done.
We
yes.
did in the basketball court, correct?
Well, no, we talked about them because they're needed for the Christmas,
Correct.
because those have been shifted over. So to me, that's what that electrical service,
So the electrical service is gonna be all of that wiring that we've all talked about for
Yes.
months, that
Yes.
you've been asking for, and we thought you
Mhm.
needed to help us keep our stuff. Okay, got it. The volleyball court, I'm sorry to bring this up, but I've asked multiple times what that's gonna cost, and I've been told several times that we don't have an estimate for that, so how do we now know that it's $70,000?
We didn't have any estimates because we had no money.
no, it was,
I can't, we don't go out and chase stuff because
Because, I asked to move it
I
across
have to
the
spend-
river,
I
I've
had
asked
to
to
use-
resurface it, I've asked to move it across the road, and I kept being told, no, 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 and now I'm seeing it as a motion that we've decided that that's gonna happen, but in all due respect, I'm the one that wants it, but I don't remember us agreeing to spend $70,000 for that.
70, it's 165. And
it's
the,
160 grand. to redo
and
all that.
those aren't confirmed bids yet.
No,
They're estimates.
yes, those are just estimated costs based on concrete,
I personally
drainage,
don't,
and
I personally
repairs.
think we have discussed all of those things over the past year, and there wasn't money yet because we
Right.
had put everything we had into the tennis courts. And so to me, it is time to move forward. We need better electrical service. We know half the lights didn't work last Christmas. Well, let's just add that.
Yeah, you can change-
Electrical
you can put on
circuits,
the- that's just what-
improvement
that's
of
just what
lighting.
she calls it.
So what's
You
the
can-
75,000 that doesn't have anything written next to it? Just a blank line?
No, Gamma Park Fall Zone improvement.
I think if you look on screen, it doesn't make a lot of, it's at the very bottom, which
Oh, yeah.
where the
it's not
confusion
It's
is.
not lined
Yeah.
up. Right. Yeah, that's why it's confusing.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, we were looking at the screen, that's why it was
I was like, I don't
confusing.
understand what's happening.
Yeah, this,
Can I make a motion and then we have more discussion if we need to? Sarah?
Oh, you can do whatever you like.
Well, I just wanted to make sure you were ready for that.
I just
Um,
don't now that, well, let me ask you this question.
Okay.
I'm really stuck on this 165,000. I thought it was 70, but it's 165. What are we getting volleyball court wise for $165,000?
That's doing all the demo and replacing all that. Back when we bid this, talked to, same thing with the tennis court. Back then, gas was less than half the price we're paying today. Concrete was way less than half the cost of concrete is today. You know, things in 2019, 2020, everything's gone through the roof. Everything is so crazy. It scares us even when we go out to bids because you don't really know what you're going to get. And the spread in bids has gone so much. You have the guy that bids it based on what he thinks the economy is going to go up. And then you got another guy that's going, well, I might squeeze it in and get it now. And, you know, the prices makes us a little nervous when you have high bid and low bid are so far apart. Used to be that was a small, fairly tight number, not anymore. If at all possible, yes. That's trying to reuse as much as possible. And again, 165, that's just a ballpark estimate
So-
on the high price of concrete.
here's, my thought is we've talked about these things in general. I think we're all expecting these things to move forward. My only concern, and I missed last month, so maybe y'all covered it, is I think I would like another chance of looking at the plan set, maybe before we go out to bid. And
Well,
But
we
other than
obviously would
that, I
have
think-
to, because we couldn't do all of these at one time based on, because we don't know what the final cost, we would have to prioritize these and do them one at a time.
Yeah, no,
again,
you
all for that. I just
Yeah.
wouldn't mind seeing the
Yeah.
plan set as
Yeah, I
before
mean,
bids.
I think we can get more details. I would like to go ahead and make a motion that we move forward with Fund 15, make a recommendation to the city council to approve Fund 15 as presented. That was Barbara Long.
I have one additional question. I'm sorry. I'm just going to go back. David, I'm going to beat this bush down. Before the money was moved from our account, our original plan was to make that volleyball court into an all-purpose surface, correct? And wasn't that about 165,000 at that time, if I'm remembering-ish? And then the money, they said, it went to council, and council said, no, we're scratching that. You guys can have a tennis court. We're just going to build you a new tennis court. I believe there was a resident that requested.
No, they had the tennis courts and all were on there. There was a whole lot of other projects that were in the list. But when they got to actually going out to the tennis courts, getting stuff on paper and all, that's when the price started going up. Plus the price of concrete started going up.
Right, but initially it was that 160. When we weren't doing the tennis court, we just thought we didn't have the money
Yes.
for the tennis court. We're going to resurface it.
Yeah.
So basically, we're just kind of doing what we said originally. Okay,
Yeah, we're
thank you.
just coming back around to a project y'all already had out there to be done. And again, it's if you want to. You don't have to do it now. You can put it off for another year if you want. Wait to see what prices might settle in at. They might settle in lower. They might settle higher. We don't know.
And then just for my clarification, one last time, the difference between electrical service and electrical circuits and improvement.
Yeah, the electric service is right now, the park barely has enough power to run everything we got right now, which isn't much. Couple of lights in the bathrooms and y'all's little circuit over there and the basketball court. And that's about it. Much beyond that, that one is not able to handle anything else.
So
And
why
actually
aren't those
been-
into the same fund if it's all electrical? What I'm
Because
asking.
the service is just that. That's getting power from Encore Electric down to underneath the roadway and over to the back of the building where the power's.
Got it.
And then you got to run it to whatever you want
Okay.
it to run to. We'll have to remove the serve power from the existing service over to that. So the restrooms and everything are tied to that now. And then this new would be electric all around that inside circle of the park area there.
So for with my motion, could we also request that for electrical circuits improvement, we add for lighting. That, it's power,
Maybe power upgrade.
it's,
'Cause
power
You're
upgrades.
actually upgrading the power source.
So like you're improving the number of amps or watts or
Yep.
those kind of things.
Yeah, right
They're
now,
available.
everything's barely running on a little 60 amps. Yeah. That works.
Well, and if we eventually want to put lights on the tennis court, that's gonna be
You're gonna
necessary
have
anyway,
the
right?
additional power for
Right.
it. That's why you'll see, if you look at the plans, there light poles in there in the future, but can't do them unless you got electric service that'll eventually handle.
I would like to second.
The motion is to recommend to council Fund 15 recommendations as noted in the,
Fund 15.
not the one that was on here, but the one that was printed with the quick. Second was,
Cindy.
okay, all in favor? None opposed? Sorry, that was rough for y'all. Talking lots of dollars. Blows my sign.
Helps when if they make.
Okay, and then Fund 55 is the Veterans Memorial Garden and flag. What else? Oh, the Lions Club, which we can't really touch anyway. That's Lions Club donation. Flag sponsor. What are we recommending here?
So is this what's left over from the Lions Club donation? But
Yeah.
including like donations when flags have been sponsored as well?
Yeah.
How close are we to using up the donation that the Lions Club made? Well, but that includes flags that people have asked to put up there and paid for. I just wanted to know the initial amount that the Lions Club.
It was $27.91. It's right there on the screen.
27.91.
And then we spent $1,600 for the Gold Star Monument, $1,630, and then there was a miscellaneous expense of $86 for the service. So it went from $27.91. Now we're down to
So will this, once the donation from the Lions Club is gone, what will support the Veterans Memorial?
Then you have to basically ask for funding, city or some other route, but, or you could, that would be the easiest if you just move this over into your, possibly, if you do it under decoration, do it under community outreach, that's what you want to put it under. You could put it in there and just let it that way. You don't ever have to worry about whether they're going to refund you this account. Always, you can just keep growing and doing stuff in your other.
But it's never been funded anyway. has it?
Nope.
I'd like to see us leave it alone for this year
as well.
and use the money that the Lions Club donated, and then when
Once it's gone, we can
when we
dissolve
can
it.
reconcile what was put in there
That's
extra,
fine.
then we can do whatever we want.
That works.
My question is, since it's likely that that would be expended this year, this coming year, when this is presented, should you give a heads up to the council that that's what
Yeah,
will
that
be,
you're planning on spending it out.
we're
and
going to
it's
spend it
gone.
out, and then that line item should be moved? Well, in the next budget year would likely be moved to our regular budget, just to give them a heads up.
Then this is Cindy, I'd like to make a motion that we leave this fund as is for this year, anticipating it rolling into something else in next budget year.
This is Surgeon, I'll second.
Serge, a second.
Yes. Oh, did it?
So Cindy, motion, Serge, second. All in favor? All agree, motion passes. To just kind of leave it. Correct. All right, nice. Okay. I am going to skip you for a second, David, while he gets that running back up again. If you're okay with that. So we're gonna skip 6A for the moment and just go to 7 while that loads real fast. Easter egg hunt, I don't think we have a whole lot. Good. Memorial Day celebration, we can think about using some of the funds for whatever we're gonna use it for then. Fireworks, Independence Day, of course that just passed. I think it went well. We talked about that last meeting, so.
And
Nothing really
probably
to add.
fairly soon, we need to contact the fireworks people again to schedule next
Yeah, how far in advance do we need to reserve the fireworks?
month.
Do we need to look at dates today? Are we good? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless we did it on the 1st or the 2nd. I think we did it on Friday this year because of staffing. Because we couldn't get, we were understaffed. Nobody was staffed. We did it once. Sometimes the Monday is. Anyways, y'all look at the 4th of July for the next year. We'll think about that. And then we'll work on dates. David, we're good to wait for a few months, do you think? For fireworks. Because we're, at a year. Okay.
I have a calendar question for y'all because the 4th is on a Tuesday. So y'all would be closed on that Tuesday, but would y'all be working on that Monday, the 3rd? So in that case, the 3rd might be a good date for us next year because I know, I understand, and I think it's the right thing to do to schedule it on a work day so that the prep can be done on the city staff. I'm sorry? Hmm.
That's the deciding factor.
People are going to want to bring their families and children, and a Friday night, they've got the next day to recover.
But no one works
one's
Tuesday.
working on Tuesday.
Like most people don't work Tuesday. So you
It'll
do
be
Monday
recorded.
night, you're off Tuesday.
And even if you have to work Monday, you show up
Oh,
after
okay.
work like we did this. I mean, it was pretty late this year. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can think
We
about
beat
it.
it up next month.
All right, then we've got movie in the park in September. Sorry, not to skip anyone. We'll just look at those dates. And September 16th. I, of course, will always be there because it's my thing and I love it. So anyone else who would like to volunteer? I got Cindy. Just going to take a little quick. No hard commitments on this one. It's really not that hard to run.
I'm a very maybe.
You're a
We'll
very
have
maybe.
company.
All right, Cindy and I usually do fine. Serge, if you want to come out and help us, that's great. So on September 16th, it's going to be a Friday night.
Friday night.
In-N-Out
Friday
brings
night?
their In-N-Out truck, and then we have a projector set up. We have a sponsor this year. Should be the Martin Realty. Thank you. Say that again. Oh, and it's going to be in Community Park for the first time. We've normally had it over at Nance, so we're going to move it over here like we did the 4th of July. So In-N-Out brings the In-N-Out truck. When Katrina's able to get that, it's free for the community. It has the movie. And then last year, Martin Realty, I believe they sponsored us last year as well. And they actually brought movie candy boxes and handed them out free, of course, with their business name on it. But it was real fun for the kids to go up to the little tarp and get the movie candy box and, take their blankets out to the field and watch the movie. So,
I'd
Anyways.
say you could put me as a soft.
so
yes
it's
on that.
fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
And what is the movie?
Movie is Encanto. So just a kid-friendly movie. So bring your kids. All right, and then just to kind of hurry here through these, we're about ready to go back. We've got National Night Out, October 4th, coming up here. Do we need to do anything today for that? Show up, that's it. So next month we'll take time slots for people to kind of man our table that we have set up, and we just pass out flyers of activities and stuff. And then Hazlet Hustle and Fun Run, October 29th. Nothing for that. Christmas in the Park is going to be December 3rd. We don't have to get anything. We're good, right? We got the snow slide and the reindeer. It is early.
Did you get a confirmation on the train?
The other
The new guy. Yay, we get the Polar Express.
Then yoga and Tai Chi going okay? Do we have any other projects or ideas? Can I put back on the agenda for next time here? Think that with the new library, that thing we talked about last month about buying kits to put in the library. Is that in our packet? Oh, okay. I think that they converted it over. I don't know what it's called, but we now belong to a different consortium, our library system, and I know it was taking place August 1st. And part of that, one of the pictures I had sent to Katrina from the last meeting was from the Benbrook Library, which is now part of our consortium. And they're the ones that have this great system where you can like check out pickleball equipment and, like games, and, they've got Nintendo Switches and crickets and a disc golf set. That's kind of what triggered me, because we've got this great disc golf park. You could come and check out a disc golf set from the library, go play disc golf for a few days, and then put it back and see if it's something you'd be into. There was a yoga kit. Here are the pictures. I don't know if anyone wanted to see those. I just took those pictures when I was at the library that day. Anyways, if we can put it back on to actually make recommendations for purchasing for the next one, that would be great. I don't know that we're ready yet, because I know that they just switched over on August 1st, and I would want to call Barbara in the library first. Okay. Yeah. Is it time? Okay. So I don't know, are we okay with the ones that we have there? Do you guys want to make a recommendation on that today, or wait till?
Well, I'd like to see the packet. I haven't ever seen it, so.
I think you were going to look up some different pickleball sets. You said you didn't like ours.
I'm
Which is
probably
the
going to ask a
shorter.
question you
Yeah, go
guys
ahead.
already covered before. Is this like a honor system thing, or like
Library
you take
card.
someone's? Okay.
You check it out on your library card.
Awesome. Okay.
So that's how they do it in Benbrook. You go in and you have to use your library card, so they know who to trace it to. And it still may get lost or misplaced, but at least we have an accountability system.
Yeah.
And I think in Benbrook they actually make you leave your driver's license when you take the equipment, like the sports equipment. I don't know. I'd have to get more specific details. I'm sure Barbara knows. And
Why don't we put it on the agenda for next
next
month,
time.
and we'll talk to Barbara
so if anyone
about
has
more
any other
details.
ideas, I thought about the yoga block, because I know they have the yoga and the Tai Chi class. If someone wanted to try it out but didn't want to make the investment, I personally would go and rent from the library a yoga block on a Tuesday for the yoga class on Wednesday. If I liked it, I could buy my own. If I was like, oh, that's not for me, then no big loss. So
Volleyball,
One question I
basketball.
have-
volleyball,
Yeah.
basketball, exactly.
Is-
Horseshoes.
Does our library have staff to sanitize this equipment when
Yeah.
it comes back in?
Yeah, Barbara
Okay.
said she'd take care of that.
Okay. Maybe could this whole packet be sent out to us before the next meeting? So I'll hand it back to Katrina. So
All right, any other projects or ideas, or can we go back?
there was one that we had discussed and I had volunteered to take the lead for, but once I met with the mayor, and I think we need to put the food truck on hold for a little bit until some staffing issues are resolved. That's my opinion. If y'all disagree, I'll get back on it and try to move it forward. But the timing just doesn't seem right, in my opinion. Is that
I'm
okay
okay.
with
I'm
y'all?
very sympathetic to that, so yeah, I'm with you.
No, I'm good. I think it's still a great idea, and I don't think we'll forget it, so. We brought it up before, so as long as we just kind of, I don't know, can you put future agenda items for 6 months from now? Can you re-forward it a few months until, I don't think we're
Well,
gonna be
and we
fully
really
staffed.
probably, although they bring generators and stuff, I was thinking for a second, but it was not correct thinking that having additional electrical power might be helpful, but they don't use that
Yeah.
anyway. So,
All right, so we will move back to 6A now that our system is back full up, so we can see the David's tennis court.
David, I have a really quick question. Is this gonna really shut down all of the soccer fields by the size of this?
Yeah, I actually had that same question. And you said it's still going to be a full soccer field.
Show you on the second page there, you can see where the extension of the sidewalk up and over and crossing over the existing sidewalk. Coming in and set up for the drainage, taking the water and basically splitting, bringing it around both sides with just some small swells and a small can underneath the sidewalk to drain it out. And as you can see, then you can see in the dotted line over beside there, that's the soccer area. Once we move it, that's where it'll fit. That's why we figured out we got to slide it slightly, because you notice one corner's up there in the style. We got to slide it a little bit farther south than we had.
I was going to say, it kind of looks like, I don't know what that gray, it says control point, and sort of like a gray line behind it there.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like the corner of that.
Yep, we got to move it
Area.
a little bit south.
Oh, you're saying it still needs to move a smidge.
Yeah,
Okay.
move a little bit to the south to clear that spot.
Got it. And from a realistic perspective, because I personally am not a soccer player, is that, I don't know if anybody plays soccer, that is realistic to actually have a game when there's a path that close to the corner? Yes,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
The corner.
Oh, yeah.
Just making sure.
Most of the time, the ones, this is a full-size one. This is not junior. Junior is a lot smaller than this. You can put two of them in here, and so it's got more than enough room.
So it says soccer, but I'm assuming dimensions are football field.
Football field size also,
20
'cause we-
yards, 160 feet wide.
Oh, yeah. And then I know there was a question about this up there at the very top where you see that future pickleball. All that is to show that there's still room. If pickleball took off so big, you could actually build a separate facility for it if we needed to. There is enough room still left in that side of the park. We still haven't dealt with anything south of the creek at all. This is just staying on the north side.
And so the tennis courts will be marked with tennis and pickleball courts.
That's what y'all got to tell me and decide.
We've already made that decision.
right, we recommended that from the very beginning.
And the next sheet showing down the center of the court, there'll be a conduit for future, so that you can see those two squares there. That's for the lighting in the future around the site. And then that's again showing the drainage and the one tree that we have to take out to make all this work and fit. Luckily, it is an old hackberry tree, so it's not like we're losing a lot. So it's not a big deal. It's,
So what do those dots mean that are across horizontally across the center of
That's
that?
the net. That's where your tennis court nets would be. Poles that have to be set in the ground
Okay.
for those.
It just looks like it's connected all the way across, so,
Nope, it breaks right there in the middle.
okay, so that's an end dot and an end dot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see what it is. It's the dotted line.
Yeah,
of
that
the
other little dotted line you
topography.
see, that's the actual
Yeah,
grade
I can-
elevation.
I can see that now.
Next one's basically the same thing.
Can I ask
shows
a
you little bit.
question? All right, that gate that's there at the side of that walkway, that's the only way into the tennis court, or is there another gate?
Mm-mm. The one at the top.
I see the one at the top right. Is there a way out? Like, you have to have like an exit route? I don't know what I'm asking. Like like if there's a fire in the tennis court, I don't know. Is there an escape route?
Well, I think the bigger issue is that if somebody is playing on that court nearest to the gate, then there is no way for another group to enter without interrupting their game. So I had always envisioned that if we were going to have two courts, that we would
Another
either
gate
have two
somewhere, right?
gates or it would be.
This is one of
No,
our
how
questions.
much space do you have between the out of bounds or whatever it's called versus the fence?
Oh, lots of space. That's not
I
a
guess that
problem.
was
One of the-
that's really what,
One of the questions had been, and this is why we're bringing it to y'all, is do we bid for that sidewalk? Go all the way across the upper, go all the way, instead of just coming in here, go all the way across that top section to that corner also?
No.
And have another gate on the other side?
what I'm
Or
actually.
could it go from the sidewalk below the tennis court? And it seems like that would be a shorter distance.
Only reason we were showing it here is it is slightly shorter distance to the parking lot from there to this. We
Right.
measured it around different ways, played around with it. It's a little longer if you stay on the sidewalk. And if you walk along the grass or whatever, that's totally different. That's
Okay,
the only
when you're-
reason we did that is because that sidewalk would be a direct line to parking.
Okay, you,
Otherwise, you got to go around the playground and come back.
you see
Or all
that,
we were wondering is whether we should extend it all the way across the back side of that. Well, our thing there was
That
they're
doesn't
both
help
on
it.
the same side in the same court.
It'd be the, yeah.
Is if we ran it, if we add that little bit of concrete's getting cheaper. If we extended that sidewalk around to that other side, be simple to do. And we put it in there and, it's come out high and we need just a little bit cut off. Well, that's the easy thing to change.
Can you,
But if it comes out good, we don't have to worry about it. It's there, it's in the plan, it's done.
Well, I don't think it needs to go all the way, as long as it goes to the middle, where if a gate was in the middle of
And
the
that
two
was
courts.
another discussion, and I've been to different ones. Do you run the sidewalk instead of coming in the side in the first place, go across, put it in the center and have a gate to gate, one
Yeah.
on each side?
I guess, before we start putting a second gate in, can we actually just see the dimensions inside of the fence to see if, because if you
Yes,
got 10
because I
feet,
do have
you
one
don't need,
question.
you don't need another gate.
This is a concern I have about the dimensions, because I did come by and
That's,
pick that
that's the
up.
view right there.
Page 5, right there.
Okay,
So
But
how
you're not
much,
interrupting a gate walk.
yeah, what's the dimension between the back line and the fence, which I don't,
The back line.
I'll
and
tell you,
fence.
I have that all written down here. That is
so you got 12 feet
21
on the
feet.
side.
21 feet, and that's what's recommended by USTA.
Why would
So
you need
all
a
the
second?
dimensions are correct. The only problem I see, according to USDA, is that if we were going to put benches later in the middle, then that 12 feet is not enough, because people would run into the benches. And so, no,
gonna go
they
ahead and
can't, they
cancel that
cannot be
benches.
behind you. They can't be behind you. They
I don't-
either have to be in between the two courts, which is very common, or they could be placed on the two sides.
Barbara, can I stop you and ask you a question? When you're talking about putting benches on the tennis court, I understand the idea because I've obviously been to tennis court, but I feel like that's going to impede a pickleball line.
No, it won't.
So how do you fit 4 pickleball courts and have benches in the middle?
They go they follow the same pattern. Can I come up here and, so the picture we have, they play up on the middle school court. Okay. They draw them here, way back.
Oh, I
Have a total of 4.
got it.
Or
I was thinking they would.
there are some nets that you adjusted for pickleball. I don't know that we do that though. Not how to adjust it. But if you were to do that, pickleball court, and if you don't have 2.
I like that court.
Yes.
Sorry, I guess I just don't see the need for a second gate. I mean,
So
you
my-
get in, you walk around, you're really going to interfere with the game?
I'll-
You do. Can't play as walk. Wish you could run back.
You run outside of the court.
So if the gate is here, yes, that's easy to get this, but if they pick this court to play on, then nobody can't get to this court without.
I'm a much more casual player. I know, I don't know the level of intensity, but it's like, okay, I hit the ball, go ahead, walk on it.
Yeah, I mean, it can be done, but I'm just saying, it's better.
That's what I kind of thought, was having a gate where that center fence is, one on each side of it.
I actually have a
That way
question.
you can,
2 gates though,
Sorry.
right?
yeah,
One on
2
each side.
gates, one on each side.
Yeah.
Can I be a little-
There's
little-
not that much difference in the length of the sidewalk.
Can I ask a casual player question here? So the gate, for all intents and purposes. What? Why don't?
Nope. If I'm putting in 2 of
This is
them,
the tennis court.
yeah, if you're doing the single one, yes.
This is right. So there's the walkway that's proposed on here. The gate is strict. Here's my question: why can't you put a little hole in the fence as a ramp? Somebody wants to go to the other side.
That's another option.
I guess I don't understand why you need the sidewalk to come farther and spend more money to get a gate. It's not going to make any
But
difference.
then you're gonna have dirt trail, and bunny trail,
Who plays tennis during the month? I don't know.
I think
I guess I'm
I
cheating.
think you want a sidewalk to gates. Just keep it kind of
That's
clean.
my personal deal. We put it in there. Me, that's
I agree.
So you're saying just move the gate over so that you can access either court with the same entrance.
Yep, put it up there and you'll have 2
Got it.
gates split open, you'll be able to go in either one. Whichever one is open, you go in and that's easy. I'm gonna have
Okay.
them.
My other thing that I'd like the engineer to check on is that if there is a center bench installed, how many feet are required by USDA? I don't believe the 12 feet would be wide enough.
Well, that's the thing that we were asking. One, did you want benches? If you do, where you would want them at? We just put them in there. We didn't do any real measuring because it also makes a difference as to how you strike for pickleball. You run pickleball, as these are, these are basically
Right.
You run pickleball courts west, you can do real
Right.
easy, and the striping is very. Those benches would be in the wrong place for pickleball. I'd be fine, okay for tennis, terrible for
Well,
because it would be in the runoff, because pickleball, if you turn the kick thrust, you look at that kick, show you a little bit in real time. Set it up, see where the black, dark black line, that's pickleball court.
Got
You
it.
see how it moves over into the side part of the court. But put a bench over that way, bench on.
well, it
Correct.
would be actually, would be This,
Why do you
we
need a
really
bench?
recommend that the, oriented direction for that sport. So this is like a good idea, but I don't.
I just know the people we talked to, football told us, trying to mark the lines in, it worked better this way, it worked the other way.
Well, I will tell you that the Hazlitt group, they play it the other way. They go a little while.
That's what they told me, they said, do it all the time, how to play, how, if people get used to it, you just.
Yeah. I like.
They said that's why they were, I was telling you, this always. Totally different. It's not. Tracking. Well, so that's what we're down to, we need to know. You start to put that in there. What colors do you want? Just blue, green, out. There's other colors available. I mean, it's almost unlimited.
I have a question, David. Do we have to put benches inside the tennis court? I think that seems, as a non-tennis player, I don't like to be sitting in the court because
You
my
don't
kid's
have
not a great
to,
player.
But we were just told that it's kind of, a lot of people recommend it for people when they're out there doing learning. Somebody out there doing lessons and stuff. Mom and dad are sitting there watching the kids, learn and that sort of stuff. They tend to like a place to sit.
I have seen bleachers outside of
the
the
outside.
net.
What they're really for is when you change sides,
Yeah.
you take a break.
Yep.
And so you need a place to sit, or you don't, if you're still standing, you're not getting a break. And it's a quick break, but you do need a place to sit down.
So it was drawn with 4 benches, recommend just putting 2, line
Yeah,
them up dead
put 'em
center
right
of the
dead
nets.
center.
Yeah.
Which is what I was. Yes.
Recommend again, that
think she was good.
we orient the pickleball
And then
courts
do
the same
pickleball
direction,
courts, same direction.
and that we verify that the 12 feet in between the two courts will be wide enough. All the other dimensions I verified and are correct.
Yeah, you're just looking for that one in the
That
middle.
one in the middle, the width in
Mhm.
the middle. And I know one of the, I did have a conversation with someone from another board, and they were recommending that distance actually be doubled. I'm not sure it needs to be doubled, but I think that needs to be looked at and verified. That's the only thing that might be,
Yeah, with the bench, do you need another 4 or 6 feet or
yeah,
whatever?
or
for the
whatever
bench?
amount it would be.
Mhm. That's simple
May I
enough.
ask a request of the pickleball players, please? When is the next pickleball game? Would you ask? I don't know. I'm kind of a majority rules kind of person because I've been the lone person out here on the park board before, and everyone votes against me, and that's totally fine. Would you ask 10 of the pickleball players tomorrow which orientation they prefer the lines? Because as a non-player, I like the way it looks in that picture. But
I
you're
can
a player.
guarantee you.
But you're a player, and you're saying you like it the other way. So versus just
So
no
if you're-
offense.
If you're playing in the evening and the west side, and I'm oriented the
I'm
opposite
not going to
way,
argue because I don't play. My question is, would you just ask 10 people for me and just
Yes.
kind of get a 7 out of 10 said they prefer this way or whatever? That will make me,
Yeah.
that'll make me feel better. Like, a bunch of people who all play agree.
And just to be clear, if you orient it the other way, you still get 4?
Yes.
Okay, you don't lose half the court.
You don't lose any, but you may
Nope.
also need to widen the whole
Actual
overall
court.
court because notice it's longer the north-south way than it is the east-west. And so we might be spending even more on concrete if,
I think then you also have a net issue, or you have to different kind of nets somehow to get those out of the way,
no,
right?
we bring
Right,
our,
but there's a net in the way now.
no.
There, a little bit, so the tennis court net
Here.
goes right in the middle. It doesn't move. Four into two.
They put a base
This
in the
net?
conduit.
It stays
all
there,
in
and you play pickleball either on the north or the south
Because we
side.
don't put it in there now, we
Oh.
can't do it
Yeah.
and come back.
Okay, I thought you were.
Like, regardless of
Riding
whether it's
side
facing
by
this way
side.
or this way, no, the
Okay,
pickleball
all right.
court still fits on there.
That was enough. No, I'm working out.
It's like this, where you're going east-west, getting the sun in your eyes,
Or-
this.
Right.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a
So
little
they don't
slow.
have to take down the tennis net.
Okay.
Perfect.
So does the city set up the nets for the pickleball, or do you bring your own nets? I'm confused there.
Right now, everybody brings their own.
So tennis court net would be there permanently, but the pickleball court net, you'd bring your own.
That would be a permanent ball. Unless the electrical works out.
And I will tell you, there are probably at least 20 nets floating around.
That pouring and for lighting future. Back. So that if we do get money. Deny, we're gonna put them in there as a bid alternate, see what happens. That way if they come out. So, we're trying, but we wanted to get them put in place, put the conduits and everything ready to go. Things work out.
This is Cindy. Are you gonna have to wait now until next meeting before, when you come back again and say this is where your benches are going? Or can you start something soon?
Start saying,
But then I'm saying, are you gonna have to bring that back for,
we will
or will you put
probably
it out for bid?
finish this thing off, probably, but then
There is one more thing that was brought to my, that was requested by a community tennis player that saw the plan, and they were hoping that there would be a short fence. Okay,
we have a.
between the courts.
But we didn't know, we saw things.
I think the 10-foot is the perimeter,
We have right now, doing a three,
and that goes how far in between the courts? No, it should not go all the way across. It's usually just, it's the ball running over. And it's not quite.
yeah, no, I think
Well, certainly, enough for it, and enough for.
almost all.
Yeah, I would say at least. I expect it's good today. But it's not worth. A serious player would care about that. I think for a community park, I personally don't really think it's necessary, but if the community wants it, then I'm not opposed to requesting that be put in, and if the cost is more, if that puts it over the top, then we could take it back out.
But it's necessary for the whole.
Absolutely not. It shouldn't be. It should not be.
But don't you think, since it's a multi-use with the pickleball, it'd be good to keep the pickleballs from going all over
That
the
would help
place?
too.
I
It'd
mean-
work for both, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think it should stay as drawn.
You think what should
I think the mid-court fence should stay as drawn.
all the way across?
Well, there's a 4-foot gap in the middle. There's a opening in the middle, but 4
I
foot
can't, I can't see where there's an open.
Right here on this drawing, it says 3-foot fence with 4-foot opening.
On the, if you notice on that plan, you'll see the squares for the lights. There are 2 inside, 2 on the outside on the
I'm gonna say if you're
west,
gonna,
and 2 on the east. Would you rather them be on the outside? Because the only reason this is done that way was one of the places we checked with. Theirs was you could use shorter poles, less expensive poles to do it this way, but that's not the only way you can do it. You don't have to have them in the inside. You can have them bigger poles outside.
My question is, can you just get away with the 2 in the middle versus the 4 on the outside and have all the options
No,
available?
there was no way to get enough coverage. You put them all to the outside, then you got to go really, or you got to, well, you can do it in the inside, I guess, if you went really tall again also to try to get that kind of coverage.
Well, I will say that.
And that was partially because everybody's light sensitive down, especially in this part of town for whatever reason. Which I don't know why. I'm sorry, I understand, but when you got this rail yard out here, the way they light that thing up, it don't matter what we do in this part of town, it really isn't going to help anything to clear up the night sky until they do something. But yeah, that's the whole thing. You know, the
I'm
less
assuming-
of them, you got to have taller and more.
And I'm assuming ours will go off on a timer or something at 10:30, 11 o'clock anyway, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends on which circuit, which way they decide to go with it. Whether they put in a timed circuit where you go in there, like Roanoke has one like that. You go in, you push it, it's only on for so long, and that's it. It goes off. You don't go back over there and re-push the button. It's going to go off.
My comment on the lights on the inside, I think that that's fine to do it that way, but that also impacts, that 12 feet is a minimum with no fences in between and no posts and no benches. So that just verifies for me that that 12 feet is insufficient.
Okay, that's good enough.
From my
So what's
experience,
the-
real quick, sorry. From my experience, I've always had outside lights and no inside lights.
Okay,
At
Purely
Keller
from-
and
High,
that's what
at
we
Keller
were
High
asking
School,
is, you know,
at Keller High School, when you have 4 to 8 courts, there has to be lights on the inside.
We
I
all
know.
have 2, yeah.
But I'm saying, if he's saying if they can be shorter poles and deliver light
yeah, it's-
effectively,
yeah,
that
it's
might
all
be a
about
good
money.
option for us.
you can put more of them in like this and smaller and less of them for less money, or you can go outside. You'd put probably all of them outside, then you're probably looking at 3 down each side, or you may be looking at ones at the ends or something else to try to get the coverage. Then you got to rearrange coverage, and usually that means they go up a little bit off. That's this. That's what this is. This is all based on doing everything as
Can they bid
inexpensive
that
as
2
possible.
ways? I don't know, I'm just asking. Can you bid lights in and lights out? I don't know.
Yeah. Now the bigger thing is the pads. If you go with the ones, take the ones on the inside out. There might be a third pad on each side or whatever, and they'll be bigger because they'll have to withstand more weight because they're going to be taller and all that. But again, to us it doesn't matter. That's still, you're just talking in this part of this project. You're talking concrete, and making a hole another foot deeper, another foot square is not going to add that much to the project overall.
Well, then I think that
So
they should,
sometimes, you know, it's kind of, you take this deal and go, well, put the big ones in up there on the outside, and if something changes, well, okay, we put in big poles, or we put in little poles because we can't afford big poles. We
why
just
don't
do
we,
it.
why don't we suggest, well, like, I would like to suggest that they put tree pads on the outside of both sides as well, just in case we end up doing just those and not the ones inside.
Yeah, well, they'll move that. But if they
And-
want them on the outside, that's okay.
When I have a question about the inside pads, are they going to be raised? Or they would be,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
that is
concrete will be
concerning, because
slightly-
then it would be, because when you're running in either, I know, but you could if you're running up, it could be a toe catcher. I just think the ones inside would have to be flush. I mean, the pole is one thing, because that's not going to take up as much room. But since there's not going to be a pole there, it would just be a toe stumper.
Well, I'll put
So
that
if
on
that
there.
can be
If they have to
flush-
be inside, they need to be flush pads.
Flush. Mhm.
Okay, that's simple enough.
David, have them put a metal plate over it so we know where they're supposed to be.
And I will check and see, maybe we can run 2 lighting projects, you know, 2 lighting setups and put it out as an alternate. Here's alternate 1, alternate 2.
I think that looks good. So we're gonna get a bid, you said, for next time, David. We're gonna request to move that gate to the middle so that or extend the sidewalk so there are 2 gate entrances, 1 to each side. And then the light, whatever things those are called, in the middle should be flat so that someone's not tripping on a raised one. And then the girls are gonna ask, this is irrelevant now because we're not painting anything, but we're just gonna ask which direction is better for most people.
Mm-hmm.
And then check on the width dimensions to make sure that it meets the
Yep.
12 feet or whatever it needs to be. And we're going to go down to 2 benches, is that right? In the middle,
Yeah,
just
do
the
2
2 benches,
longer-
not the
do-
4.
Do 2 of the longer ones possibly. Go to the 6 or the 8 instead of the short. Yeah, make
Yeah.
the fence opening big where you got probably 4 foot,
Perfect.
4 foot on each side, and maybe an 8-foot bench, back-to-back bench in the middle. Mm-hmm.
Looks good. I
Then
think it
it's
looks
all
good,
about-
thank you.
Then it's all about colors. Do you care? What color do you want?
Colors.
A black chain link fence? You want a green chain link fence? You want
I want whatever's cheaper.
in
it's a
that case,
fence.
it doesn't really matter a whole lot. That coated, you know, because we recommend that you go with one of the coated ones. Just they last a little bit longer and look a lot better than the regular chain link does.
Right.
It's just whether you like green, you like blue, you like, because you can get that in some different colors.
I like inexpensive
Or you can do black.
quality.
Black's the most common, the simplest, and the one that kind of disappears.
Black would probably be nice because the windscreens are usually black or gray.
Mm-hmm.
And will the fencing have some kind of lat, kind of to hide it? Means it's got the covers around the fence, not just the cyclone fence. You know how you have some tennis courts that you can't really see inside
Mhm.
because they've got the
The
slats and-
windscreens
Yeah, the
make it
windscreen,
difficult
yes.
to see through.
Is
it.
that
Yeah.
what you part of that? That would be included.
Yeah, do you like the blue and the green like that, or?
I do.
Because
Hot
there
pink
are,
and
I mean,
turquoise.
just about name it. But
The blue and green is the most traditional.
this is the most
black and
traditional
white.
one you see. The
Simple.
well, you see the solid green, sometimes still the really old style, but this is the most common that I see now. Is this colors? And then the lines, I've seen both the black lines, I've seen one that looked orange for the pickleball, but the orange with the white and the blue and the green didn't kind of look weird.
Well, and it would be kind of nice if we incorporate it, but I know red doesn't hold up with the sun.
Right. The red that's the one thing I've seen, the red ones, and next thing you know, they're all pink.
I mean, the only thing that I think it might work for is if we use red for the pickleball lines. Yeah, I do too. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, either black or white. It's very, very distinct for humans to see that real well. Okay, that's fine enough. Yeah, I think green is the most standard, least expensive, but green on green's kind of boring. This is what I see the most. Most of the schools, everybody's going with this, and you know how schools are. They oh yeah. No,
I think the
I've seen
reason it's
Longhorn.
often blue is also because of the heat. There's
Mhm.
something with paint colors and heat, and I think blue tends to be a cooler
Mm-hmm.
color.
Whether it is or not, I don't know, but I do know your eye supposedly perceives blue as being cooler than, and greens as being cooler than standard concrete or some of the other.
Yeah.
Don't know why, but it does. Okay. Somebody had asked about footers at one point.
What's butter?
That's on the sheet 6, y'all. You don't have that one. Oh,
Right
okay.
here?
Maybe that's the only one that I have.
This,
Footings?
hey, real quick on that side space, it just says to have a minimum 12 feet. So I guess if you got a bench,
Add whatever that
yeah,
works
for the
out to, yeah.
bench, and you're good.
So if the bench is 6 foot front to back or whatever, then we add 3 and 3 or whatever on each side.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right. The length
I'm
doesn't
talking
really
about if you
matter.
put 2 of them back to back.
Yes.
It's probably going to be about 6 feet
Right.
total width. I mean, 2
So it might be
benches back to back.
15 feet
So
or
you might have to have 15 and 15 or
Yeah.
16 and 16 or whatever. works out. We can figure it out.
Yeah.
We can make it work.
I'm sorry, you said back to back. I was envisioning instead of where those 2 benches are, just having one there in the middle and one in the middle, not back to back.
Mhm.
Is that right? Oh,
We could look at just a single flat, no back, top bench.
that way you could sit from either side.
Mm-hmm.
It is nice to
Have
get
a
one that
back
has
or-
a roof so that you have a little bit of shade at some point.
With shade.
Mhm.
Bring an umbrella.
No. No, not if it's in between. You don't hit the ball over there on purpose.
Okay. So you're going to get those back to us. We'll hear at the next meeting, maybe hopefully a bit or two,
Sure.
if possible. Perfect.
Thank you. This is great.
That's what's
Oh
on
yeah,
there.
did you want us to tell us something about the footers?
That's a
I'm sorry.
layout of kind of how the footings underneath the court have to be ran to hold that thing up, keep it from cracking and moving around so much.
And do they use tension things in it? in the
No,
concrete?
not in these. They don't. Yeah, well, pre-stressed concrete where they use the cabling. is not generally used in tennis courts. House foundations, what your opinion is about doing it that way. My own personal opinion is I wouldn't have it, because whenever one of those things does rot, you have nothing at all. I want piers down underneath there, so if this black soil around here decides to shrink away, my house is still sitting on them piers that are down in the bed. So it don't go anywhere. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is gonna be heavy duty concrete. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yay. Now I get to go back and we get to do some, I would say we'd go do it the first thing in the morning, but since we have budget workshop, I don't get to do anything else fun in the morning. You're welcome.
Thank you for all your work on this. This is awesome. Awesome, awesome.
Well, I just like that we're getting close. I'm ready to get this thing done so we can get it out on the street and see what pricing we can get back on this. That'll tell us a whole lot about then what we can do other project-wise this year.
Perfect. So we're going to go on to number 8. Sorry to keep you there on the hot seat, David. No break for you. Maybe James can give us some updates while you're moving your papers. I don't know. What do y'all have for us? I know that we put up the swings in the park.
Yeah, I'm still
Have your
waiting
kids
on
tried
the
those out?
ADA one, right? That
Too
is
hot.
still, how many weeks now out? Another, yeah, I know it's been a long time since we ordered it. Still waiting on it. Like everything now, man, you order it and they go, 35 weeks from now you might get, like, God.
This is
But
kind
it
of
is on
random.
order, just waiting on it.
I just have a random share. My mother works for a group somewhere in Roanoke, and they service handicapped adults who are not working, and most of them are in wheelchairs. My point is, my daughter and I went to the library today, and my mom was there with her, group that she worked with, and the adult patients, I don't know if they're patients, clients of their center, were just tearing up not like bad, like good tearing up on their wheelchairs and just racing to the park and going over to the playground and going back over. And it was just great. It was great to see that, this organization is not even in Hazlet, but it's in a neighboring city, and they're able to come and use our park because it's accessible to them. So I just wanted to share that. I thought that was pretty great.
That was one of the things, y'all started that idea of having an accessible playground, and we've noticed that there are a lot of other people, and I'm sure they're not from around here for most of them, but a lot of people do come and use those.
It's just nice that they can get in and get to the slides. And, the one guy was there, he's got a little remote on his wheelchair. And I don't remember his name, I'm sorry, but he just raced in, and, the lady working with him had to run behind him and so, wait for me, I got to catch you. Anyways, it was just fun. Because they can just, they can just go, and they don't have to, like you said, the chip bark. And so, anyway.
Yeah, no, everything pretty much, all the fields has been working on irrigation, trying to keep all that rebuilding, repairing, fixing all those things. Trying to keep as much, somewhat ready in case we ever do get good rains again for a while. I mean, we got some yesterday, but there wasn't enough.
Did
That's
all
main
of
thing.
the painting escapades get fixed up in Mansfield?
No, there's still some that we could not get off. That's gonna have to be painted over.
Painted over? Maybe we could get the volunteers. in high school.
No, we actually have some money. We're trying to get a painter to come out and give us a bid price or a quote to paint the whole place.
I have a question about the multi-purpose surface over there. Actually, it's kind of a two-part question. When we change that volleyball court area and get the sand out, is it going to have a fence around it or a net or anything, or is it just going to be open like it is?
In this plan, we were going to try to include same thing, a chain link kind of fence around it. If it comes back, too expensive, we'll take it out. But I mean, if it does, We thought, well, that would make it where they were talking about, well, if it's solid surface, they don't want to dive, and if there's a fence there, they're definitely not going to try to dive out there on the
Sure.
concrete.
If you don't have a fence, I just suggest that maybe just from playing pickleball on the basketball court, if it can have curbing that is sloped down, so you're not falling off a
Stepping off
curb.
the edge.
Oh, okay. I know what you mean.
kind of like the,
Like a rounded curb.
yeah, like the sidewalks are as you
Mhm.
go approach the park.
Okay. We
Just
can
a
look at that.
The
suggestion.
pads that grade.
Memorial Garden looking okay? Everybody seen it? Haven't been in a while. I haven't been since Memorial Day, actually. As far as y'all know, it looks fine
Mhm.
still.
No, it's looking, last time I
So,
was over there, it was.
Is that new stuff in there really helping to keep the weeds out?
Oh, yeah, they're nowhere near what we've had in the past. It's been a lot easier.
All right, so parks are looking good. I don't think I had anything from carryover. Anybody had any park questions? All right, so we're good. So the next park board meeting will be September the 14th, which is just a few days before our movie in the park. Y'all don't rush to volunteer for that, but we'll see what the weather's like, exactly. All right, so we will then adjourn at 8:38.
This conference is no longer being recorded.